got to run over the music because we're running a little bit late. You know what that music means. It's Friday. And it's time for Free Speech Friday, our last Free Speech Friday session before the election of 2023. And, you know, I think after the last few weeks of campaigning and all the debates and everything else, I think we all need a drink. So I thought, who more appropriate to join me today, one from Auckland, one from Wellington, than my two favourite publicans, Leo Molloy from New HQ up in Auckland on the viaduct there, and my mate Alistair Boyce from the Backbencher Gastro Pub opposite Parliament, which of course is the venue for our election night party tomorrow night. Tickets only a few still available, though I think we're going to close it down after I finish the show today. Gents, welcome. Welcome. First, I'm going to ask you both. Well, Boise, I've just said what you've got on at the backbencher. Leo, have you got any politicians booked out your place for tomorrow night? What's the plan?
We've got comms going with everybody, but we haven't got anything firm. Seymour's got his thing booked over at the Maritime Museum, but I guess I'll wander over 2 hours later if we can fit them in. But we're doing a election special ourselves in the little headquarters of the Lady Seater next door. So we'll be right buried up to our necks in it. Can't wait. Are
election nights, Leo, they good for selling alcohol? Guess you got people celebrating and people drowning their sorrows.
Well, Boise, he'd be strong when they're alcohol because they're all pissheads down there. But up here we tend to act with more decorum, more refined. We come for the intellectual analysis. I'm actually going to a private party at the person who you know quite well, Sean. We're going there to rub shoulder to shoulder with all the hoi polloi and the toffs in town to watch it unfold and to watch this final, for 6 years of misery, to see this boil lance and to have a cathartic experience as we move forward with a lot of blue sky.
I think you have clearly then, not that you haven't always clearly said where you stand on things. Do you think, Boise, neither of you, and Boise, this election's been full of disappointment for you because you made, I thought, an ill-advised pitch to be the Wellington Central candidate for the National Party.
I was just trying to help, Sean.
Yeah, but, you know, your problem was you exceeded...
who had enough of the woke.
You exceeded
like Leo
their character
in the boxing
test.
ring with Guy Williams. That was a hell of a performance. I love that, Leo.
Yeah.
There's about half a dozen I'd like to give a bloody good hiding to. I offered to give Mallard a hiding, and he said no, he had a sore neck, the tired little prick.
Yeah, well, get in line with Mallard.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know if you just listened to Chris Trotter, and he said, actually, when you go back, and wasn't he amazing? Actually, and you were, you got involved, Boise, and we reconnected over the parliamentary protest.
Yep.
It has had... And the political forces that unleashed has had a major impact, right? And will have a major impact tomorrow.
Absolutely. It's pivotal in New Zealand's history. It's right up there with the Springbok tour, and it's been manifestly ignored and misrepresented by mainstream media as well as just about every political actor.
Yeah. Leo, I think your perspective might be slightly different on this because Auckland's perspective is different.
Well, there's two lenses to look through here. The first one, if you're talking about the parliamentary process, well, that's rich, low-hanging fruit harvested by Winston, the unhinged and the unvaccinated, and good on him. He could say things that other mainstream parties couldn't, and as a result, he's picked up a significant portion of voters there, a big group. It's probably, of his 6 or 7%, whatever he's going to get tomorrow night, half then would come from those unvaxxed and unhinged people who attended that event. From the Auckland perspective, the lens we look through here is the shutting down of the city effectively for 3 years and the misery that was imposed upon us by the likes of Jacinda Ardern. And that's the reason now she could not walk downtown. It's an indictment of her prime ministership, if that's the right word, that she would be persona non grata in Auckland City, particularly in the CBD and the viaduct.
Yeah. Look, I talked to Chris, Leo, and I think one of the electorates that I'm interested in them all, Auckland Central. What's your feeling as to what is going to happen there?
Well, I think the Hamas thing in Israel is going to kick in for the Greens. I think there'll be a certain type of person. There's two things that will come into play, the wealth tax and the Greens' position being pro-Palestine and pro-Hamas, and they've refused to step back from that, although I notice that Golriz has stepped back slightly. But
yeah, well, Golriz has got interesting views on Iran, who, of course, are aligned with Hamas, so I think she's a little conflicted there.
Yeah, and the weird thing about all those people who represent what those people do in terms of culture in our society are conflicted, because a mask would be brutal the way it would treat them. It would not allow them to have the liberty they have in this society. But what they've done here, they've effectively endorsed a mask by that. They're using that mantra online, saying from the river to the sea, which is just the elimination of everybody between the River Jordan and the Mediterranean. When they say everybody, it's specifically the Jews they want to eliminate. So I don't think any sensible person from Herne Bay or St Mary's Bay or even Grey Lynn will be looking at.
And so what is your prediction for Auckland Central?
I think Mahisha's got a grand chance of rolling, Chloe. Grand chance.
Okay.
I mean, she's rock solid in K Road and parts of Grey Lynn, some parts of Ponsonby. But things like the wealth tax are going to hit her hard up around, as I said, St Mary's Bay and Herne Bay.
Yeah. Now, Boyce, the guy who put you at the post, Scott Sheeran, UN guy, he's as woke as you get in the Labour Party, I've got to say, but they needed their most woke candidate for Wellington Central. He's up against...
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not woke, so...
No, that's right, Boyce. There are reasons. There are reasons that you didn't get the nomination, and they're just real politic, and I'm not being mean to you. I'm just saying that on the woke scale, well, Scott Sheeran's on the woke scale. You're nowhere near it.
Yeah. I accept that.
Yeah, and really interesting in Central, because there's a three-way split, essentially, between Ibrahim Omar, who's the Labour candidate, Tamitha Paul, who's your Greenie and coming off council, and Scott Sheeran. What's your feeling for the way that goes, Boyce?
Well, it could go anyway there. I actually think Scott Sheeran could come up the middle there.
Yeah.
Tamitha Paul, I'm sorry, but her record in council in regard to fiscal responsibility and the business community and the central city is appalling. She knowingly increased Let's Get Wellington Moving budgets. Despite the absurdity of it in relation to the fiscal hole that was coming. So I just think she lacks all credibility. Omar Ibrahim seems to have no real depth of thought beyond the party line. Yeah. So, at least with Scott Sheeran, he might be woke, but he's got a depth of thought and intelligence, and he's got some attributes that are seriously good for the country and the in the foreign affairs type portfolio. So.